Righty then, welcome back to the channel, Late Night Live. We'll get into it. We'll do a bit of a Q&A. We'll talk about anything and everything that we want to talk about. I do apologise for being a little bit late. And I did throw up in the gym. That's not happened in a while. So I needed a little minute to compose myself after I got out. But yeah, if you want to know a little bit more about that, I've just put the video on Patreon. So there's a link for that in the description. It was a spicy session, needless to say. So if you're interested in, well, pushing yourself to the point that you throw up, you can come and join us on that one. But yeah, all right. What's going on in the world of the old football then? Well, the sort of expected transfer of Victor Gyokeres to Arsenal looks like it basically got here we go tonight for a fee of around about £55 million, which honestly, like, people talk about a lack of good signings and bargains and things like that. That's a really good value signing, I think. Yeah, you're not getting a ton of resale value on it, but you know my feeling on resale value. I think it's a myth anyway. If he does the bits, if he's good enough to get them over the line, does anyone give a shit how old he is and how much he's cost? My own thoughts on Arsenal's desire to go with a bit more of an out-and-out striker is I think it'll fundamentally change the way they play, and I think one of the reasons why they've been so effective, I hesitate to say so good because I think they've not been that good. I think they've been quite an effective, almost long ball team at times, quite direct. They toss themselves off into this deluded self-importance, thinking that they play some sort of magical, beautiful brand of football, which just isn't the case. It's effective. I wouldn't say it's very good. Well, it's effective. And I guess on some level, effective is good. So, but they delude themselves into thinking they've got this absolutely fucking bananas sort of like, you know, purist style of football. And it pure and simply is not the case. Lee Whiteley says, big up Salford on getting a win against Cass. I tell you what, Salford Reds at the moment, not Salford City, Salford Reds rugby league team make Manchester United look well run at the moment. Genuinely, Salford by far this season have had more statements than points. I wish I was joking. I wish I was exaggerating and be like, oh, Steve's cracking jokes again. They might have had more statements than fucking signings. Paulie says, how many matches have Arsenal won from corners and set plays? Probably why they're signing Gyokeres. Yeah, but again, like, they like to Havertz. Havertz is a big boy. It's one of the reasons why they have been so effective in the set plays. Steve says, Ferguson was adamant that you should sign players who are on an upward trajectory or had a point to prove, yet we spent a decade ignoring this principle. It's not the only one of Sir Alex's principles that we ignored, is it? Let's be real with ourselves. Scott says, feel so sorry for the manager. Owners are hanging him out to dry. The guy should threaten to walk if we don't improve the squad. Evening, Steve, what's on the gym playlist these days? Extremely unoriginally at the moment, what I am listening to, and I don't know if it's just an ease of use thing or whatever. I am an Apple Music kind of guy, and you can probably tell if you can read that. Let me just turn the brightness down. Can you read that? It's the set list from Oasis. I'm sorry, that's unoriginal. Fight me. Next is my heavy rotation. Next is my favourites. Prior to that, we've got Linkin Park, Club to Death, Summer Barbecue playlist, Michael Jackson history, and then I had a playlist for the Manchester 10K. You want to know what was on my playlist for the Manchester 10K? Because I did actually put this one together myself. So that was Offshore by Chicane, one of my favourite tracks. Made of Stone, Stone Roses, Indian Summer, Stereophonics, On a Beach, York, Grease 2000, Cafe Del Mar, Foreign Angel, Plastic Dreams by JD, Valhalla by Guriella, Lizard, Mario Picotto, I Remember by Deadmau5, Bellissima, Quicksilver, Run by Woodkid, Other Side, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Glue, Bicep, Club to Death by Rob Dugan, Adagio for Strings, Tiesto, Guriella, Rank 1, Airwave. So, bit of a tempo to them. Coach Zach with the old super chat there says they're getting in for 30 million less than what we were quoted. Welcome to United. Alex says, do I like Lincoln Park? Yeah, I do. Abdul says, only United have lost more pounds than used to in the city of Manchester. Unsportsmanlike says, Steve, I think we do nothing because we're expecting to be able to sell players. There's probably a lot of that. Gary says, I can't listen to MJ anymore. Why? Michael says, I heard you say Oasis play list on the Brew, and it played it in Park on TRX this morning. Sorry, what? Will Gyokeres be successful? Opinion. Yeah, probably. Carl's super chat there says, if we can't sign striker, is there any way Marcus can integrate back in the side and be our number 10? Well, he won't be number 10. Don't know. In my head, I kind of think so. Oh, you can't hear Michael Jackson anymore after the Brew. Do I think there's a new Oasis album incoming? Maybe. Will it be good is another question altogether, though, innit? Colin says, reckon Havertz is starting for them by December. That's an interesting take. Captain says, thoughts on Vitek as main keeper for pre-season? Won't happen. Akash says, Steve, does Garnacho get bought back by Amorim? Do I think? No. Gary says, I ain't anyone else, shouldn't, but don't work for me with my past. I don't understand. T-Mail says, I can see Cheeto starting more this season if we don't get a striker. I think Cheeto's better than Gyokeres, but Cheeto's not good enough to start for us. Tommy Boy says, evening Steve, shout out to my partner Emma, who gave birth to our beautiful daughter on Tuesday. Another Red joins the family. Congratulations, mate. I hope they're both doing well. That's awesome. As I said, I think I said it on one of the podcasts I recorded, actually, so maybe it hasn't actually gone out yet. But it's kind of crazy how when you have a kid, they just allow you to leave. And, like, you don't have to do a test or nothing. It's just kind of like, there you go, there's your kid. See you in a bit. Which I guess is what a state should be like with you, but it is also kind of crazy. Syed with a super chat says, do I think Mount will have a big impact this season? Better question is, will he stay injury-free? Well, one, I think is dictated by the other. I think Mount absolutely could have a big impact, yeah. I don't know if I'm projecting and hopeful there, or if I actually believe he will be. He can be, though. He absolutely can be. He's got the skill set to be. T-Mail says, what's more likely to happen in Buemo to us or Sancho to Juve? I think they're both in the mix. I think they both could happen. Yeah, I think they both could happen. MN2K says, had United gone for Gyokeres, Sporting won't let him go for less than 80 million up front, but let's face facts, whether it's selling or buying, clubs just like doing deals with us. Will we get any good news this week? Jesus Christ, I hope so. I go to America a week tomorrow. If we've not done a deal by then, we're in the shit, lads. What's my boot choice for hiking? Depends on what day it is. I have a lot of pairs of boots. Probably more than a dozen hiking boots. So genuinely, it depends on where am I going, what is the weather, how far am I going. There's a lot of things that would go into it. I'm putting some miles at the moment into a set of Solomon 4D Quest Forces, some nice brown ones. Gore-Texy ones, which I'm thinking about wearing for the Bullock Smithy 100-kilometre ultra that I'm doing in September. So I'm trying to put those through. Am I planning on doing some vids in America before the Paddock lot are arriving? Well, yeah, I got to do a video every day. That's my job. So, yeah, I will be doing, yeah. Bob says, if Rashford, Anthony and Sancho, Garnacho don't get clubs, do they come back into the squad? I think they will do. But whether or not that's, to start week in, week out, I absolutely don't know about that. Am I doing any drinking in New York City? Well, at the moment, I'm very much enjoying my 0530 starts. Very much enjoying my 0530 starts. Kind of buzz off the fact that I'm able to do that. I think trying to maintain a 0530 start once I get to New York, Chicago, Alabama would be beneficial in terms of staying off the jet lag. Getting some sunlight in my eyes, getting a sweat on early doors. And also, listen, this isn't a complaint. This may sound like a whinge or a complaint. It's not. It's just me explaining the reality of it. These tours are very, very busy, but they're incredibly unproductive. So if I don't get up in the morning, get a workout in, and do my content for this channel, you know, we might have a press conference or an event with the club that's a fucking an hour drive across the city. Macca's always fucking late, so there's 20 minutes waiting for him to come. You know, you get there a bit early, you have a walk about. You've wasted an hour and a half now so far. Whatever the thing with the club is 2 hours. Then it's another hour back. You've wasted fucking 5-6 hours. You've not even eaten or anything yet. You've not recorded any videos. And, you know, it doesn't take you much to just have the day slip away from you. So yeah, I'm going to try and maintain those 0530 get-ups. And the reason I'm saying that, why does that relate to drinking? Well, if I'm doing that, I'm not going out on a fucking smash, am I? What caused me to be sick? Squats. Which is hilarious because I used to have a motto, which was squat till you puke. And I puked on my last rep. Chris said we are getting left behind. We are, mate. We are. Good morning from Australia. Do I reckon with the Ollie appetite for America Saudi that United's pre-season in Oz are unlikely to happen anymore? Yeah. I knew United would come back to America this year because of the World Cup being there next year. I don't know what we will do next year. I feel like it would be daft to try to go to America, but I could also see them making the case that football/soccer is enormous post-World Cup, so capitalise on it by going back. Maybe people still want to spend some money. Maybe people still want United. I personally think it would be better served to go and check out a new market, and I think it probably would be Saudi. Michael says, Steve, I got news for you. Getting up at 5 a.m. is the norm in older age. Get used to it. Fuck. Thought I was doing a thing. Matt says, any chance we can get Cole, Giggs, Keane and Stam to come back for next season? Honestly, the club's a joke at the moment. Appreciate your work. Cheers, Paul. Unknowing it. Just character and world-class talent. I mean, you've just listed 4 world-class players there. Alex says, the market is East Asia and Oz New Zealand compared to North America is incomparable. Just that East Asia and Oz New Zealand are just nicer. It's on spend, though. I mean, there's a lot of people in Asia, but I think the per capita spend in America is a lot bigger. Jonathan, should we be realistic in the current era? Aim for top half this season, anything else is a bonus. I don't think a lot of the fans will accept a top half. I think they would only accept a top 6, and even a top 6. Fucking Ollie came second and third, and everyone wanted him gone. That was only a couple of years ago. Previn says, fair play, definitely would not blame you for not growing pints with a packed schedule. I didn't say we wouldn't be having any. We'll have a few, but getting smashed isn't really a thing. And I think getting smashed at the moment, like, I'm not teetotal. I don't envisage a time when I ever will be teetotal. But I don't need a drink every day, and I don't need a drink every week. And I can go a good few weeks without having one. but I do enjoy a drink. So I don't know how many we'll have when I'm out there. I think I'm going to miss Joe's birthday, which is next Thursday. I don't land in New York till like midnight on Thursday, so I'll probably miss that. Lendum says, what brand of TRT am I on? It's right here. Pharmaco. With a Q. I've had a handful of different ones, and I am allergic to some of them. So what I would say is just, if you're on it and you need it, you know, and one of them don't sit right with you, ask for another one. Any Howson versus content soon? I only like doing it when we're I've got a little bit of something to shout about, which is probably not for a while. Compost says, gonna need to get some sort of European football next season. If we're skint now, we'll definitely be skint then. Yep. Do I reckon we'd ever rehire Ollie? Probably not. Stu says that 48 kilogram bell that you got is solid favourite kettlebell exercise. I like Turkish get-ups, so I'm not doing Turkish get-ups with that thing yet. I think I'll call myself strong once I can do a Turkish get-up with a 48 kilogram kettlebell. I do it with 24 at the moment, so I'm a fucking long way off being able to do it with that bastard. I'm pretty much just doing kind of like deadlifts and swings. If I even get up to a single arm snatch with that thing, that's pretty fucking hardcore, isn't it? Mulraven says, Steve, are we literally setting up Ruben Amorim to be gone come Christmas? We will point the finger again and run in the same circle again. No, well, I won't, because I know the fucking shit show that we're dealing with. This squad's dog shit. There's just no goals in it. I think if you'd got him goals, I'd be pretty excited. The problem is, like, the fucking turds in the fan base that'll just turn on a manager at any given moment because they're fucking turds and they don't know anything better. Why am I not watching a Club World Cup? Because I don't fucking want to. How about that? I started watching it early doors. Now I can't be arsed. Darren says, LVL, you're speaking with Alabama? ? I college in USA. I fucking hope you're not in college with that sort of England that you've just typed. Does that mean, what level am I speaking with in Alabama? I am speaking next week, Wednesday, a week on Wednesday, and nobody's more surprised than me, by the way, at the Alabama State Athletic High School Soccer Coaches Annual Conference, which is a fucking hell of a title, isn't it? I'm doing 2 talks. One is on youth development, and obviously my view on youth development and my experience, what I did or do with youth development and my philosophy on youth development. And one is about my game model, and the youth development one is a couple of practical things that, because obviously what's the point of me going and just saying, here's what I do? Obviously we've got to give a bit of practical, here's what you can do. And the same with the game model. Why have a game model? What it does? And the game model is just a compass. It's just a bit of a North Star for you to, like, how do you know if you're playing well? Your game model is your roadmap of, did we play like this thing says here? If we did, sweet. If we didn't, then sweet. Alex says, love you and you're awesome at Paddock, obviously, but how the fuck did that invite happen? Dropped in my inbox. Someone said, would you be interested in doing this? And genuinely, I say no to... Honestly, must have just caught me on a good day. I say no to a lot, and I don't put myself out there a lot. And I sort of touched on this on Friday a little bit. I do have a form of social anxiety, and I think it comes from a few different areas. Being recognisable And obviously, I'm not fucking Ronaldo, but I am recognisable. If I go to Old Trafford on a match day, it will be about 100 selfies, okay? On any given day, depending what I'm doing and where I am, it might be anywhere from none to 5. If I'm in town, it's usually 2 or 3 every single day. And it's in mad places: cash machine, petrol station, fucking Tesco, the gym. Quite often it's someone just come and says hello. Maybe 60% of the time it's selfies, depending on the age, actually, of who it is. And it's been this way for about 10 years, and it obviously goes up and down, and how popular, famous that you are, or how many selfies that you take. The first kind of time it happened, about 2015, we just started doing like very regular content with Full-Time Devils, and you'd see people staring at you in fucking Tesco and stuff, and you'd be like, does he want to fight me? And then you end up in your head like fucking thinking about what's going on, and then a guy comes up and is like, oh, I love the fucking podcast, or something like that, and then you feel a dick, but you can't help the way it goes on. I've been trying to explain to J. Cal, he's going to get selfied to death. And from him going from completely anonymous to now mega famous is it can be tough to navigate. Do I get much stick off the Berties? Generally, when I've walked past, they do not come and say something to my face, generally. Not within arm's reach, anyway. They'll usually clock, walk past, and then shout something once they're about 70 metres away. So yeah, I say this a few times, or I've said this a few times. We went to Australia, 2019, so it's a fucking long time ago now. And me and Maka walked into, it happened a few times, we walked into a bar in Singapore and fucking DJ said something, and like a lot of the people in the bar turned around, and I was like, fuck, get me out of here. I don't like it, I don't like the attention. I really don't. I enjoy doing this for a job, but I really don't like the attention. And genuinely, the attention and the reaction from people is 99.99% positive. It genuinely is. It genuinely is. But there are occasional negative ones, and it does make you put a guard up, and it does make you wary. And that's not fair to the 99.9% of people that are going to come up and be nice. But I'm also not going to put myself out there, because I am aware people recognise me, and I'm not going to go acting like a fucking big loud dickhead, because you do, and it ends up on fucking Twitter, doesn't it? Oh, since doing this fucking blah 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 blah. I don't need it. I don't want it. So I say no to a hell of a lot. I've been offered a lot of fucking cash from like 888 and people like that to sit down with certain other creators, and I'm talking pay my mortgage off sort of money, and I won't do it. There's a hell of a lot of things I will not fucking do. It must be nice, must be much nicer comments face to face compared to online. Yeah, I mean online, yeah, you get abused about every hour, but yeah, in person it's happy days. So if we ever bump into you, Steve, should we ignore you? If you want to say hello, that's fine, but just know that I really fucking struggle with it, and I promise you, I really don't want to be rude, and I'm trying to put myself out there. And the reason I said yes to go and doing this thing, I do not believe I've got any fucking right, credibility, or reason to be standing on stage talking to what I consider my peers in terms of coaches. And I am extremely self-conscious about that. So I'm trying to just do it as, here's my experience, here's the things I do. See if you can do it the same. I forgot to say that. So yeah, Australia. We walked into a bar, and it was about 45 minutes of people saying hi to you, but it was overwhelming, and I literally just had to go and hide in the toilets for half an hour, which I know sounds like a mad thing to do, but yeah, I get fucking quite anxious socially. I don't know if that would be better now. I am in a much better fucking mental headspace as I was a few years ago, for sure. And what's funny about the TRT thing, I'm getting told I'm on steroids at the moment because I've lost weight and I'm fit. I've been on TRT for 4 years. It only made me lose weight, 3 years in? It's not steroids. It is, so my levels were factually low enough for me to identify as a woman and compete in the Olympics as a woman. That sounds like a joke. That's not a joke. That's how low my levels were. Why were they low? It was PTSD related. So PTSD, your brain thinks that you're doing too much crazy shit, just fucking turns the tap off and's like, this dude needs to chill out. And just fucking killed it. And that sent me into, a massive fucking spiral of all sorts of problems. Put a load of weight on, didn't want to work out. That's, one of the thingies of it. When you get your levels sorted, I'm not going to a super physiological level, which is what steroids would be. I'm just up to a fucking normal level where I should be. And just being back at the normal level, I feel fucking great. Glenn says, different level, but Eddie Hall talks about fame. He can no longer enjoy day out with the family. I'm a little bit of a different level of fame than Eddie Hall. And also a little bit of a different level of frame as Eddie Hall. He can't go anywhere without being clocked. Thriller says, mate, I have 15 years of coaching experience and I learned loads from you. Some of my friends are at academies. You know your stuff. Maybe I do. And I do nerd out on it, and I do work hard to try and learn, and I make it my business to learn. But I still, I don't have the credentials. I haven't got a fucking UEFA Pro. I'm working towards an A, but I don't have a UEFA Pro. I'll probably never have a UEFA Pro because I'll never work at a pro club to be able to get it. And I haven't worked in a professional environment. So, what I'm learning, I learn at grassroots level. That's all I can do. Alex says, I've been with you alone with Janine and a bunch of others. I enjoy being around you and talk to you. Yeah, and I can do that. 1v1, it's not too bad. When there's, a dozen or so people around, it's very fucking difficult. AJ Wright, couldn't Rio make some calls? About what? Steven says, it was at Howson out 5 minutes into yesterday's game. Yeah, from fucking me. Pricks. Honestly. It wasn't an happy changing room, that, at full time yesterday. And 3-2 sounds like it was a close game, doesn't it? 3-2 and we missed a penalty. It sounds like, it wasn't too bad, was it? It was fucking shite, wasn't it? It was absolutely fucking shite. Which was pretty much what me and my old man said when I got round to his after the game. Yeah, that was fucking shite. The lads got told it was fucking shite as well. It was shite. Indy says, what have I learned from being around guys like Rio? Fucking loads. There is a real benefit to just hanging out with professionals that have played at the top level, and the things that they just drop on the floor, that they don't even set out to be like, I'm gonna teach him some shit today. They're just talking, and they'll pull out of this happened in training once, and there's a lesson in it, and they didn't even mean for there to be a lesson in it, but there is a fucking lesson in it. And you're like, wow. PSG are battering Chelsea right now. Not even close. Are Chelsea that good / title contender? I've been saying for years that Chelsea team has got far too much talent in it, that when it clicks, they're going to be a fucking problem. And I think they probably will be. Samuel says, you were saying last week you were up against a team maybe 4 or 5 levels above Paddock and would probably get smacked. How did it go? Was it 2-0? Did we lose 2-0? I think we lost 2-0. That was last weekend. We probably didn't deserve to lose 2-0. We probably should have. It probably was like a 1-1 game. Yesterday was a team that's technically below us, but they're trying to be higher than us. And we were just shit. No two ways around it. Fucking garbage. What's my go-to chippy order? I had chippy last night, right? And I got fucking jibbed. So I wanted... It's not necessarily my go-to. I like a beef curry from a chippy, Chinese chippy. With chips. Yesterday I wanted chips, gravy, mushy peas and a sausage. And I got home and they hadn't done me mushy peas and there was fucking more gravy in my hand right now than on my chips. Bastard. DJ says curry from a chippy. Listen, it's very, very much an English thing. Chinese curry from chippies. I noticed certain parts of the country where chippies are probably like English people. In Manchester, it's almost exclusively Chinese people. Can't explain it. Don't know where that became a thing, but it is, and it's fucking sensational. And yes, they do curry, and I know that's traditionally an Asian dish, and that's not what you get from a chippy. But anybody from the northwest probably goes, yeah, I get curry from a chippy as well. DJ says, I like curry sauce, never had an actual curry. Akash says, yeah, curry from a chippy is not for me. Alex says, beef in pastry, chips soaked in gravy. 20 Legend says, what's up with mushy peas? Why? Because mushy peas are fucking top. That's why. Paulie says, have it in Dublin too. There you go. Okie Lady Liam says, why not scout Victor Boniface? He was an exciting find. Fit a profile that can work in Amarim system. Not sure. Kieran says, I like the chippies that put the like raisins in it. That's English curry from a chippy. So there's people going to be sitting in foreign countries sitting there going, what the fuck are you talking about? So there's probably more than this, but I would say in our area, chippies fall into 2 chippies. You have English chippies by like English folk, and they will do a curry which is kind of like really mild and a bit fruity and sweet. And then you will do Chinese chippies, and Chinese chippies will be quite a spicy, like a fucking violently yellow kind of curry, and they're absolutely banging. I can't explain it any more than that. That's the game. Tony Morgan says, chips, Chinese and gravy is elite comfort food. Is there good brisket in the UK? Yeah, there are a lot of places that'll do like ribs and brisket and burnt ends and things like that, typically in city centres and that. Me and Janine were talking about, we went to Chatsworth House today. We were having a chat about this, and Janine said, who would people support in Chatsworth? And I was like, I haven't got a fucking clue. Derby, maybe? And then I was like, but you know how football clubs formed? And obviously, no, she doesn't. But football clubs formed, by and large, out of factories, which means that they formed in cities. In the countryside, you're looking at rugby union and cricket is the thing. And then I went off on a fucking tangent in my head for about 20 minutes thinking about that then. Erik says, on my way to Manchester soon for a match. Need a good brisket place. I'm not on top of it. Cane and Grain would have been my go-to, but it's fell off. I need to find a place. Salty Pretzel says, late to the stream, probably people ask this, why different clubs can get deals done on a Sunday afternoon, but Manchester is just a mess. Don't know. Patrick says, I'm from Chatsworth. Stephen says, Chesterfield is the nearest club to Chatsworth. Oh, there you go. Mulraven says, loads of great places in Manchester. Look at Pitt Smokehouse. Yeah, I've heard of that one, but I've never been. Mahir says, am I worried for Amarim by the lack of importance for getting a striker? Yeah, big time. Genuinely, about 2 weeks ago, I was thinking, shit, man, we're getting a striker. We're getting Mbeumo over the line. Fucking life is good. But even just those delays for a couple of weeks, and you're like, shit. Got one fucking player in. This ain't good, is it? Rob says, black fry around our way, battered black pudding. Battered black pudding. I had... Where did we go? What's it called? Oh, shit. Where is it? Hang on. I took a picture there, so I'll be able to find it. We went somewhere last Sunday. Let me find it. What was that last Sunday? It was called Haworth. Went to a place called Haworth, not far from Keighley in Yorkshire. And I had a battered mushy peas. Why did I have battered mushy peas? Well, they were selling battered mushy peas. And I walked past this chippy and I was like, oh, they're doing battered mushy peas. I was like, go on then, I'll have to try one. And it was all right, you know. Would I swap Højlund for Darwin Núñez, hypothetically speaking? Probably. He's better. He's not great, but he's better. Will Raven says, did Ollie get more backing than Amorim, or was he the worst back manager since Fergie? No, he got backed. I mean, he got backed. Whether or not he wanted all of those signings or he was given all of those signings, he definitely got backed. And he had a better squad. Just go look at the forwards. Just go look at the forwards. Rasmus or Igalo? Igalo. Someone asked earlier, Weghorst, and I didn't answer it, but yeah, Weghorst. Patrick says, honestly, Cunha and Mbeumo and replace Onana good enough for this window for me. I don't think Onana is that big of an issue. I think a striker is a far bigger issue. Far bigger issue. Rasmus is so much worse than Onana is in terms of an issue in the squad. GT says, how long before McCullough starts complaining about Rory going on about Chelsea being the best in the world? Yep. About 4 minutes. Paulie says, Onana isn't what the fans are making him out to be. We need a striker. Totally agree with that. Well, Raven says, what I mean is Amorim the least back manager in the transfer window since Fergie? Yeah. Matthew says, Steve, thoughts on academies? My under-8s have 4 players going to Leeds pre-academy. I've rejected my boy to go. Surely 8 is too young. I have a lot of thoughts on this, actually. So, there's no such thing as elite 8-year-olds. There's no such thing as elite 10-year-olds. There's no such thing as elite 12-year-olds. I think at 13 is when they start specialising and they can start to separate. What's good? Just look at the fucking numbers. You've almost got as good a chance of picking a fucking superstar kid by them getting off a fucking train in a school uniform as you have of them being in an academy. Now, I personally believe, and I'm going to prove this with Paddock. I'm going to prove this with Paddock. It might take me 10, 15 years, but when I fucking say I'm going to do it, I'm going to fucking do it. I will be paying coaches to coach at the level that academies are at. Because what's the differentiator? Why are academies better? Coaching? You can get them coaches. It ain't fucking Ruben Amorim coaching the under-8s. It's a fella with a level 2. It's a fella less qualified than me. That's who's coaching your under-8s at United, City, Liverpool, Everton. That's it. They might be working towards a B. There ain't no A's. Your A's are your academy directors, maybe lads that are coaching under 16s, maybe. Those lads that are in the under 8s are capable coaches, and there's fucking loads of them. But they are technically no better than someone that's played at a decent level and got a level 2. And I will be paying those people to coach at 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s at Paddock. and we will create Manchester United players. The problem that you've got is parents. Parents will always take the kid for the badge, and I think it's wrong. Personally, I think there's a handful of ways that you develop children. And I actually don't really touch on any of these in the talk that I'm giving next week in Alabama, because I'm talking specifically about 15, 16-year-olds in that talk. You're talking about 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, probably 7-year-olds. And I will talk now on 7, 8, 9-year-olds rather than 15, 16-year-olds, because 15, 16-year-olds are very different to 7 and 8-year-olds. 7 and 8-year-olds need unstructured play. They need technical grounding. They need to be given good fundamentals, and then they need the confidence and unstructured freedom to test those fundamentals. Once they've tested their fundamentals, they need guidance to be able to put those tested fundamentals into creativity. Once they've done that, they're developing. They do not need tactics at 8. They do not need fitness at 8. They need fun. They need to fall in love with scoring goals and beating people 1v1. That's it. At 7 and 8, all they need to do is fucking love skinning people. Whether they're going to end up as a left back, a centre half, a fucking centre mid, a striker, it does not matter. They need to play 1v1, 2v2, 3v3. That's what they need to do. They need to fall in love with football. And I think all coaches that coach children, they should be measured on how much their fucking kids love football. Not how many trophies they win, not how many academy players they've developed. They need coaching, they need judging on if their fucking kids are obsessed with football. They play football before training, they go training, they come home and they're fucking smashing a ball against the wall for an hour and a half. So the parents are like, fucking, Dylan, get in. That's what a good coach will do. Instill that sort of stuff into their fundamentals. And I think you'll probably get that better at your grassroots team playing with your mates than you do when there's pressure on. Because there is pressure on when you play for an academy. However, it does seem that if you're not in academy at 11 and 12, they believe there's things that you get left behind on. Now, again, I think you can coach all of those things, and I would like to be able to have my grassroots club coaching those things, find out what they are specifically, and then coach them. Daniel Berry says, Oceanman's not realistic. His wages rule him out. Never mind the fee. Let it go. FPL Mikel says, I also feel they should embrace other sports as well at a young age. Yeah, so I know Bayern Munich fucked off all teams under 12. So their 8s, 9s, 10s and 11s don't exist anymore. They only start taking people for 12s. And the reason was they wanted them to go and do multisport. And I think there's a hell of a lot of advantages to doing multisport. I think it's not going to be embraced in England for whatever reason. Mahir says, it would be great to know how you plan your day managing the club along with creating content as well as focusing on your fitness. I calendar like a motherfucker. I don't have my notepad here with me, but I am a notepad freak. So just on my desk, right in front of me right now, there are 5. Field notes. A Be a Pro. My weekly workout planner. And then a journal. And I basically have a handful of categories in my little notepad. 3 things to move the needle today. Like, what's the fucking 3 things? Like, what can I look back on and go, do you know what? if I do these things, like, it's a fucking successful day. And then I have my actual to-do list, which can be nonsense. Then I have my workouts that I'm going to get done, the videos that I'm going to get done, all the different supplements that I'm having, which are a lot. And then anything else, really. And I try to have Monday to Friday and Saturday quite structured. Typically, Mondays can be a work from home day, but I've been increasingly going into the office just because I've had shit to do. And I prefer recording in the office than I do here. I will if I have to, but I can. I prefer in the office. Tuesday, I typically go in a little bit later. Tuesday's a fucking full-on day. I get in there for about 3, do a video with the fan channel, go live with Ronnie, sit down, do a handful of videos. I'm usually out of the office by 6:30, off to Urban Reform for Engine, and then I do football training. I get home about 11:30. Tuesday's a long fucking day, especially when it starts at 5:30. Wednesday, try and have a bit of a day with Janine or do some endurance, which can be like 4 or 5 or 6 hours long. Thursday, we've now started doing a podcast on a Thursday. That's a pretty full-on day. Friday, pretty full-on day. Saturday's pretty full-on. Varos, does that include family time? Yep, all family time's calendared. Like, yeah, my calendar's fucking Ramo. If I schedule it, it gets done. And that's the thing. I put everything in my calendar, and if it can go in the calendar, it can get done. If it doesn't go in the calendar, I can't fucking do it. And I won't do it. I'll forget. Jitesh says a lot of elite sports people are damn good at another sport too. Yeah, it does happen. It does happen. Thriller says, thanks, Steve. Never won anything as a coach, but definitely had the kids really love the game more afterwards. It's hard when only the trophies are celebrated. Well, then you're at a club with the wrong fucking culture. We had a very successful season with our junior teams this year. Every junior team that we had won a trophy, which I'm pretty pleased with. But I'm more pleased with how much every fucker enjoyed it. And that's the top and bottom of it, is it? When are the new Paddock kits going on sale? I can't answer that. I don't know. Hopefully fucking soon. Caleb says, just wish the coaching badges in the US weren't so absurdly timed and expensive. Maybe it's where I live, but it's a serious barrier. It's a serious barrier in England. I would say in England as well, the hardest thing, like, I'm fucking doing my badges with Wales. I don't live in Wales. It's easier to get on them than it is in England. Like, I'm in Manchester. Manchester should have the fucking, like, tentpole best FA in the fucking country, shouldn't it? If not the world. AJ says, when was the point when I knew I could quit my day job to do content full time? I could probably find the exact date, actually. I think it was about 2017. I mean, I went full-time with Full-Time Devils. That was my job. And then I left Full-Time Devils and was sort of just working for myself. So I'm like 8 years into doing that. There's a lot of pressure. But at the same time, I wasn't made for a 9 to 5. I'm either happy digging in fucking holes covered in cam cream or doing this, I guess. Dan says, the thought that would stress me out, having every hour of the day booked in. I need to be able to feel like I can go with the flow. Not to stress me out. Shows we're all different. Well, yeah, like I said, this, for me, gets stuff done. If I didn't do it like this, I would really fucking struggle. Trying to see. I can't show you this because it has my address on it, and I'm not fucking doxing myself. I'm trying to see if there's a way to just show it. Yeah. Turn the brightness down on this a bit, see if it works. This is Tuesday. You see that? Tuesday. So I'll be up at R5, 10k hike, get Blake readies in the calendar, go to the gym, barber's appointments, that green one, and then content that I've got booked in, my gym session at Urban Reform, and then Paddock training, and then home. So like literally the entire day. And then Thursday same, Friday same. Just it's the only way I can do it. It's the only way I can do it. Matthew says, completely agree. You described my lad. He scored 9 one week, then did kick-ups as a goalkeeper and conceded. Scouts weren't there that week. Life for an under 8. Gary says, might be your army experience coming through. I don't know. Maybe. Thoughts on intermittent fasting for weight loss? Right. Intermittent fasting isn't about necessarily the restriction of calories, right? And I've only just fucking come to the realization this maybe a couple of months ago. So when I lost the majority of the weight that I lost, I didn't realize I was intermittent fasting. Irish says, how much time would you say a day adding things to the calendar? Well, I have, honestly, my Monday is the same every week. Tuesday is the same every week. Wednesday's a bit of freedom in it. Thursday's the same every week. Friday's the same every week. I don't. Saturday's the same. I have physio. I have Blake goes to gymnastics. I go to the gym while she's at gymnastics. The only thing that changes is whether Paddock or home or away. And I typically go and drop Blake off at my parents before the game, and then I'll go and get her after the game. Like, I actually don't have to add that much to it because I sat down and fucking nerded out over what I want to do, what I can do, and how it all fits. And then I just sort of stuck to the routine, so it's the same. And then my gym is the same. Monday's the same every week. Tuesday's the same every week. Wednesday there's a bit of freedom. Thursday's the same every week. Friday's the same every week. So it's like, but anyway, yeah. So when I lost the vast majority of the weight that I lost, I was intermittent fasting, but I wasn't trying to intermittent fast. I was just accidentally intermittent fasting. I would go to the gym and then I wouldn't eat until after I came out of the gym, which was like 11:30 or 12. And then I would eat at like 6 or 7 of an evening. So I was technically intermittent fasting, even though I didn't mean to. Then when I lost loads of the weight, you lose blood, like volume, when you lose a load of weight. So around about December, I was getting lightheaded as fuck, and I was falling over. Like, Amazon would come to the door, I'd jump up and fucking keel over the sofa. That's not good. So I started adding porridge in before I would go to the gym. And I started, I wasn't snacky. For the entire time I was losing weight, like, I thought, because I've cut the Red Bull and I'm not having sugar, I'm not hungry now, and I just don't, I can fuck up a Twix, lads, or a packet of Hobnobs. And I just wasn't interested. And I was like, that's really weird. And I thought it was because of the sugar or the lack of Red Bull. So I'm like, I'm not having the sugar, I don't want the sugar. And that was the correlation I was coming to. It was the intermittent fasting that was doing that. Because when I started adding the porridge in, I then started wanting a fucking snack. So from December, my weight has been gaining 10 pounds, losing 10 pounds, gaining 10 pounds, losing 10, like in a week. Because I'm like, fucking hell, I'm hungry. Get to 2 o'clock and I'm like, fuck up a Twix, lads. Whereas I'm having like 400 calories of porridge, but because I'm like spiking my insulin, having the porridge at 8 a.m., now later in the day, I have got like a sweet tooth and I'm fucking deciding to do it. So when I realised this, and when I say I realised this, I asked ChatGPT, why the fuck do I want a Twix now all of a sudden? I asked it, is it because I'm now running rather than hitting the Stairmaster? And I was like, does the running use like a different energy system? Am I burning too many fucking calories? And is that making me snack? And it was like, wrong question, but you're kind of on the right track with it. It's the porridge. So I was like, hang on, what? So I fucked the porridge off, lost weight again. Ridiculous, genuinely, innit? That's actually fucking ridiculous if we're being real with ourselves. So now I do all of that working out that I do, and I even try and extend it with these 2-mile walks or 10k walks that I do first thing in the morning. I am leaning out even more by doing those because they're helping clear out all the glucose before I get to the gym. Then I'm burning fat when I get to the gym. By the time I eat, I'm primed and ready to go, and I am not in the least bit snacky. So intermittent fasting takes a little bit to get into it, but it controls your insulin all day. It just sorts your hunger levels out. And for me, it was fucking happy days. Ant says, sounds very much like you have insulin sensitivity. Maybe I do. Maybe that was something that I fucking broke when I was smashing 10 Red Bull a day. But for me right now, I don't need to eat. And that's a fucking hard mentality to get into, because the army basically bullies you, threatens to fucking charge you if you don't, that you need energy to go and do these long-weighted marches and stuff like that, and you don't. You're fine. Or at least I was. Kieran says, I'm doing intermittent fasting just to maintain the weight. Nice. Have I had a diabetes check recently? Yep, fine. I had all the stuff in Turkey. I'm absolutely fucking sound. Stefano says, if United are struggling to sign a striker this summer, they should sign Taremi on loan and invest in a decent midfielder instead. Ant says, I'm exactly the same, by the way. I can go 4 days without eating. Oh, I don't know about that, like. Charged Word says, I go from 8 p.m. until 12 lunchtime for Little's better. Yeah, sound. Craig says, do I drink alcohol? Not very often. Do I eat much carb later in the day? Yeah. Well, I said, look, I had chippy for tea last night. I'm not really restricting what I have. I'm just restricting when I have it. And that works. And to be fair, I didn't even finish the chips, to be fair. When's the first podcast episode of the full turkey video out? I was hoping it was done for Friday. It wasn't, so maybe tomorrow, if we get it done. Gary says, never have eaten breakfast. You don't need it. The fucking breakfast industry honey-dicked us all into fucking having breakfast. We don't need it. Harry says, interesting, so no more breakfast for you these days? Nope. Charlie says, I work in a bar and I unintentionally fast as I go to bed late and then start work late in the day, and I'm never hungry when I wake up. Yeah. Adam says, Twix are elite. They're fucking ledge, aren't they? Man One DJ says, how long do I think before United can win the league again? Can we just get in a fucking top 10 before we think about winning the league? Jesus. Steven says, I listened to DJ Sean Ryan episode today. Head fell clean off. What a story that is. Unbelievably raw at time. DJ's is arguably rawer than Jay's, isn't it? It's a fucking crazy pod. I love that both of those two are probably the two best podcasts he's done. Unbelievable. Lee says, breakfast, the most important meal of the day, is a scam. It's just factually not fucking true, isn't it? That's the problem. AJ says, do I know remember us in the comments, like one of us comes up and says your name, would it make the connection? Oh, says our YouTube name, would it make the connection? Probably. Yeah. Carl says, interesting info. I feel sick if I don't eat. You will for a little bit. It'll go away. Like 3 or 4 days. It will go away. It will go away. And you've got to make, you might still have like sugar in your system if you do. Do I calorie and protein count? Yeah, but I don't need to currently at the moment because I'm on my fucking life's on calendar. Like, with the fucking sort of calendar that I run, where I have the same workout routine and I do the same shit every single fucking day, do you think I'm fucking eating stuff that I don't know? Like, no, I have a very boring diet and I just buy the same shit and I could eat it all day long. I don't give a fuck. Steven says, do you know I'm the good-looking one stood with Stu and Shep at the Paddock games? I thought he was the one that... I thought he was the elf that lost your fishing rod. KG says, I only eat a banana for breakfast. Bananas are sick. Can't fault that. Shay says, I hate having breakfast, so I don't have it, but I'm snacking on shite then regardless, but oddly more so if I have breakfast. Do I drink sugar-free pop? Literally the only thing I drink are these fucking optimized drinks. Literally. I had a bottle of Coke today, but that's real fucking rare. Harry says, meanwhile, I just smashed a whole tub of Waitrose #1 chocolate ice cream. Was fucking banging though. Thoughts on the most realistic striker we can get from the Premier League? Yeah, Mateta, I think. Dan says, if we only sign one more player this window, who would you want most? It's hard to look past Mbeumo because he's right on our doorstep in it, but it's got to be a striker because I think we could make do on that right-hand side number 10. It could either, you've still got Mount. You could put Bruno there. Ahmad could play there. I think a striker is the most important thing. Fayin says, why do I feel next season Haaland will have a low goals assist per game to around late September or early October pick up? Well, probably because he's settling into his new club, hopefully. At what point do we call time on Kobe? He still hasn't signed. Do we sell with a clause? It's a good question. Probably this season. If he's not interested in selling it. And also if he doesn't fit in. Callum says, have I heard of MIFA in Salford? They do a college course and take in young lads from all over the world and mix them with local lads. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've had dealings with them at Paddock. Am I ever going to do an Ironman or a half Ironman? I have one in the calendar. September 26. Weymouth, 70.3. Calendar. Mainu needs a good season. He does. Lad and Dad United do a blood sugar spike followed by a rapid drop, which can trigger ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and lead to cravings. Is that on the back of something else? Oh, yeah. If you had issues with insulin sensitivity, your blood glucose would typically be elevated, not low, when you wake up. The hunger and sugar cravings you experience after eating oats are likely related to blood sugar spike followed by rapid drop, which can trigger the ghrelin. Yeah, when I don't eat, I guess that ghrelin don't fucking activate, and then I'm happy days. And actually, by the time it comes to eat, like I have a packet of chicken, Cajun chickens, like fresh chicken, pretty much every night for tea. And it's technically for 2 people. It's 360 grams of chicken, which is a fucking lot. And I do struggle to finish it sometimes. Have you ever considered a boot camp? I kind of fucking went to one for real. To do what? For the lads or for myself? Stretford Ender says, it's actually scary how inactive we are in the transfer market. I don't believe we're inactive. I think we're not seeing the leaks that we used to see. I'm frustrated by the lack of stuff getting done. But yeah. Where does Mainu fit into Amarin's system? I think he doesn't suit Amarin's system. No, I think he probably works best in a midfield 3. Lee says, currently running a football club, hard to find the right coaches, and how have I found this with Paddock? Hell of a lot of luck required. We've had some awful coaches at Paddock, and at the moment we've got some fantastic coaches. You got to be quite proactive in fucking them off when they're not good. And we've given some pretty bad coaches a lot of time. But We have an operations director in Claire who is fucking ruthless. So she will fuck them off with a quickness, and she goes to every team's training session. So she is all over people. She's all over me at the moment because my fucking DBS has expired. I've got to get it fixed tomorrow. So she's all over my ass trying to get that sorted. But yeah, she is all over every single training session. And if there's a coach that's not fucking doing it, not communicating well with the parents, or the sessions are shit, she will be fucking onto me and she'll be like, he's got to fucking go. And yeah, we fired coaches. What day am I going to Oasis in Dublin? I'm going on the Saturday. Would love to buy you a pint. We are there Sunday into Monday. What's realistic expectations of this season? At the moment, staying up. How do we deal with incompetent coaches? I find it hard to say those things to people's faces. Well, you've got to keep it factual and non-emotional. You bring them in and you go, these are the issues. And like I said, it's not necessarily a performance thing. The team's fucking losing. That's not necessarily an issue. Because it's not something that we're grading them on. It's, are you recruiting? What's your performance as a coach? What are you putting out? How, what's your interactions with coaches and parents and that sort of stuff? Jericho says, Andy Mitten and Ornstein said weeks ago they didn't have any interest in Gyokeres, and it would appear to be accurate, wouldn't it? Will says, ever thought about doing my scouting qualifications? I've seen plenty of grassroots players in younger sides that you could bring to clubs. Not really. I mean, I did do the PFSA ones. I did do a couple of levels of that. Me personally, I don't really have time for it. Can coaches have off days, or is it more obvious when they're bad? Fucking hell. Yeah, I have off days, for sure. I might have had one yesterday. How do you track performance of the coaches? Recruitment, a lot of it. I think with the junior sides, the jungle drums are fucking quite loud. If you see a lot of people wanting to join, it's a good thing. If you see a lot of people wanting to leave, that's a bad thing. But like, there's a lot of movement from players in pre-seasons. You'll see a lot of players leave and a lot of players join. But when you're seeing players leaving once the season has begun, that's not a good sign. That's usually a bit of a warning sign. Or if you see a lot of players, for example, we had an under-21s coach, and it was his conduct on a sideline. It was making daft substitutions. They weren't performing well. But again, the performance of the team on the pitch wasn't the issue. It was, what are your training sessions like? What's your attendance at training session? And if it's low, sometimes I have low attendance at my training sessions with the first team because lads have got jobs. When it's all college students, that's usually a bit of a different fucking thing. What is going on with that? And then when you bring another coach in and that coach has got 35, 40 at training, you go, same team. And the things that are being said to players. I have first team players that straddle other teams, reserve team, under 21s, under 18s. And players aren't shy in telling you he's fucking shit or he's really good. So you just got to keep your ear to the ground. And then if a manager's not working, give them an opportunity to fix it. And if they can't fix it, fuck them off and bring somebody in that can. The same as you do with anything. But you've got to be realistic. Like, is the issue something that they can control, or is it something that they can't control? If it's something that they can't control it, and then it is what it is. But yeah, when When the time comes to act, act. Imagine if Leeds stay up and we didn't. Do you know, like I said, I wasn't fucking drinking very often. I think if that happened, I probably would be. How many signings do I see Manchester United making? I actually think we'll get 2 or 3 more in. I don't think it'll be quick, though. Ant says, I'm sure I remember you looking at that, but you need to go to Germany to do it. What was that? The scouting stuff. There's UEFA courses you can do in Germany. And Germany has English language UEFA coaching courses. Which player in the current squad would have done the best under Fergie? Fucking Bruno. Who in the current squad would even fucking play for Fergie? It is a low bar, brothers and sisters, isn't it? Jesus. Who we signing up top? Fucking no one, by the looks of it. Is that R9 in the picture frame behind me? Yes, with a fat T. Previn, what do I think would cause World War III? My dad used to be in a 3-letter organisation and thinks it's possible. It feels like there's a fucking country in the Middle East that's pushing like fuck for it at the moment. It also appears like I think you have to watch what's going on with China and Taiwan. That should be at the forefront of a lot of people's minds, because once you understand that having a microchip in stuff allows a lot of surveillance to be found, and all of your stuff to be read and looked at, and just what can happen when you have microchips. If everyone was rocking technology that was all originated from China and there was no other option to get your microchips, that could be a real fucking problem. And I'll be honest with you, obviously I drive a 30-year-old car that doesn't have a fucking radio. I am so close to going completely fucking tinfoil hat off grid. What the fuck are we doing with it? I am so fucking worried about the creeping fucking surveillance. I ain't even doing anything funky. I just worry. What are we doing? Lee says, I have more than doubled the size of the club in 3 years, from first men's and 2 social teams to men's 23s, 2 social, 13s, 14s, 16s, women's first team with a women's reserve to be added next season. Sensational work, mate. Well played. I know how much work that is. For me, I could have 50 teams tomorrow. I don't have any fucking places to put them. If Paddock ever get our own pitch, 3G, that I can use all day, every day, we will have 50 teams that fucking same day. Chris says, do I ever go line dancing? No, obviously Janine does it every single week and then does some other stuff. Andrew says, off grid, you're on YouTube. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I can't be off grid. One word, Starlink. I don't need to be connected to the grid for it. What do you think the grid is? No, obviously Janine does it, but no, I don't go. Notch has a lot of electronics being produced in Taiwan. Yeah, and I think China could be extremely fucking powerful and problematic if they controlled all microchips across the world. Personally, I don't know why Britain isn't looking at that as being like a global bottleneck and saying, like, what is stopping it? Do you know what? Let's fucking ask chat. Why couldn't Britain be a place that produces microchips? Because surely that would be good for industry. Surely that would be good for fucking trade. Surely that would be good for world security. And if not Britain, why not America? Why not France? Why not fucking Brazil? Like, why not anywhere else? Why is there only 2 spots in the world and one place is trying to close that down and have it as the other spot? Is it education? Minerals. Well, you don't think I got the fucking minerals? Expensive labour. How expensive do you think it'll get when China controls it all? When one person controls everything, guess what? Now the price is going up. Man One DJ says Netherlands makes the machines to make the chips, not PSMC. Don't know what that means. IADAT says it's minerals and supply chain plus the capex cost in China. It's heavily subsidized. But surely, like, do you know what I mean? Could we not fucking do that? What's more terrifying, the ocean or space? Space. Tommy Boy says, I would assume the export of minerals for microchips is far too expensive for our economy and we don't have the industry to support it. So I just asked chat. And it said, you're absolutely right to question why Britain hasn't become a serious microchip producer, especially given the geopolitical chokehold Taiwan has on the semiconductor supply chain. On the surface, it should be a no-brainer. Strategic autonomy, national security, economic growth, jobs, but there's a deeper look at why Britain hasn't done it and what's standing in the way. Context, why Taiwan matters. Taiwan's TSMC, that's what you guys were chatting about there, produces 90%, 90, of the most advanced chips, sub 5 NM, nanomil. Chips are critical to everything: missiles, smartphones, cars, AI, and energy. If China invades Taiwan, the entire West's tech and defense systems are at risk. Bingo. Why Britain could do it? 1. Strategic fit. Britain has got world-class universities with top-tier engineering. The UK excels in chip design. ARM, for example, is British and dominates the mobile chip architecture. 2. National security. Domestic fab would reduce the reliance on Taiwan and potentially China. It would align with US and EU moves to onshore chip production for defence readiness. 3. Jobs and economic boost. High skill, high wage jobs in STEM, manufacturing and clean energy. Knock-on effects for AI, robotics and quantum computing. See, why all the fucking politicians are going on about the fucking boats and inheritance tax and fucking labelling protesters terror organisations? Why is no fucker saying, actually, we could sort out jobs, security and all sorts of stuff if we just did some shit like this? Call me old-fashioned. Why it hasn't happened? 1. No manufacturing infrastructure. Britain designs chips but doesn't fabricate them. Building one fab costs 10 to 15 billion minimum. High risk, long return horizon. Lack of political will and funding. The US has the CHIPS Act, which is a $52 billion funding. The EU has the CHIPS Act. Britain, we've spent over $1 billion in 10 years. Government divvying, unclear industrial strategy, and frequent ministerial changes delay momentum. 3. Skills and supply chain shortage. Fab isn't a building, it needs thousands of specialist workers, ultra-clean environments, sub-nanometer precision tools, and Britain lacks the ecosystem. It would take 10-15 years minimum to build it up. Global dominance of Asia and USA. So what could it do? TLDR, it could move into production, but it's not quick or easy. The opportunity is massive for job security and tech dominance, but it requires political vision. Basically, politicians are too busy fucking about, and it's easier to try and score points and chat shit than it is to actually do something for the fucking benefit of the country. There you go. Everyone's a fucking knob. Stu says, I think the US are looking at copying factories to break the monopoly. I think it makes sense to do that. Noah says, hey Steve, sorry if you've mentioned it before and sorry if it brings up any dark memories, but did I consider staying in the military and going up the ranks? Yeah, I did want to probably continue a military career, but the point that I left, my head wasn't right. and I couldn't have stayed. The operational tempo at the time, talking peak GWatt years, and it was peak for another 3 or 4 years actually, following when I actually got out. And I felt a little bit corralled. I'd done operational tours, I'd done Afghanistan, I'd done Iraq. The desire to continue doing those once you've already experienced them is fucking way lower. You don't, like, I've done this. Like, it's a box that's been ticked. I don't need to fucking do it again. That's not to say that you wouldn't do it again, but you, like, the appeal of it is a lot less. So you're looking for advancement in your career. And what I wanted to do was to go to Pathfinder Platoon, which is the next level up in terms of the sort of responsibilities, the job, you know, all that kind of shit. It was just a step forward in my military career of what I wanted to go and do. And as I began training for that, I kept getting these calf niggles and I couldn't fucking figure it out. And I was doing these 30, 40 mile tabs with 45, 50 pounds. I've always been good at tabbing. I was fucking sound at it. But I was getting these calf problems. So I'd do a tab and I'd do a run and my calf would go. And I know you're like, well, nothing's fucking changed, mate. I had compartment syndrome and I didn't know that I had compartment syndrome. And I kept getting these niggles that I just couldn't fucking shake. And at what point you go, this dream that I've got of going Pathfinder Platoon is not fucking happening. And the cadres are only every 6 months. And in the meantime, like, the operational tempos are, you know, outrageous. I'm struggling to get the training in and blah, blah, blah. And I ended up probably impulsively so. I asked for a break and I just fucked up my junior cadre out of spite, really. I fucked up, to be honest. I broke my ankle and I was in a mood, and there'd been so many people injured on this promotion course that the captain was being investigated and the course was being investigated because of that. And they basically come and said to me, like, you will pass the course if you just come back to the field with a broken ankle on my crutches and just give the road movement brief back to camp, and then you'll pass the fucking course. And I was being a dick and I went, I don't want to do it. So I didn't do it. And I didn't pass the course. And coming off that course, which I didn't know the knock-on effects of doing that at the time, meant that I couldn't. So what I wanted was just a posting that was a little bit easier or a little bit more stable. Go and be an instructor at a training depot or something like that. And because I came off that course, I couldn't do it. Fuck myself there, Billy, really. So the opportunity for a break that I was offered was to be the family's liaison officer driver, which means, considering the fucking up-tempo, I would have been the fella that comes round and sits there with a fucking cup of tea like this while the family's liaison officer's driver is telling you that your fucking son's just died. And I went, yeah, nah, I ain't fucking doing that job. That sounds like the worst job on earth, I'll be honest with you. What a fucking shit job that is. How was your day today, Steve? Oh, yeah, I went round to 5 people and completely fucking destroyed their worlds. How was your day? No, couldn't do that fucking job. Fuck that job. So I said, nah, I'll just fucking leave. And maybe it was a bit impulsive at the time, but my head was not in the right fucking spot at all. My head had come clean off after Iraq. And I needed a break, and I wasn't getting a break. And I was going to go straight from that course to Kenya for 3 months to do fucking warm weather training like I hadn't just been in Iraq 2 weeks ago. And then it was going to be back out to Afghanistan for Christmas. And I was like, I am coming apart at the fucking seams here. I can't fucking keep going. So I resigned after like 7 years. In terms of, someone said, did I not fancy going Hereford? Couple of reasons. No, is the short answer, but there's a couple of reasons. One, I didn't really know, and I do know now. I fucking know shitloads now. Fucking hell. I've actually got more confidence I could fucking pass that now than I did when I was serving. be delusion, could be whatever. I know a lot of people who've passed it. While I was in, there was this mystique around special forces, like, it's impossible. Don't even fucking think about it. Now I've got, like, mates I served with, a fucking lot of them, that have done it, and they're like, yes, it's hard. It's not impossible. And you go, oh. And, you know, a few lads that was like, he wasn't the fittest fucking guy I know. And secondly, the covert stuff, the breacher stuff, that never really appealed to me. I genuinely liked fucking soldiering. So Pathfinder platoon, covert observation posts, and, you know, on the fucking ground soldiering, that appealed to me. You know, deniable operations and fucking low visibility operations and breaching. I didn't know a lot about it, and it didn't actually really, you know, float my fucking boat, to be honest with you. So, no, it never crossed my mind, really. It was, you know, I would have, maybe if I'd have gone Pathfinder platoon, which does seem like a well-worn path. People go Pathfinder platoon and they very much, you know, do a couple of tours and then move on to special forces, but yeah. Ant says, one thing I will say is there's a distinct northern flavour in special forces. It's a mentality thing, I think. It seems like there's a lot of Scots. I love a lot of Scots. Just from people I've met. Thoughts on the Tim Dillon stolen Vela situation? I'm not aware of the Tim Dillon stolen Vela situation. How do my granddad and dad feel about United? I haven't seen my granddad for a couple of weeks, and not spoken to him about United. I speak to my dad all the time about it, but yeah, not best pleased. Fame says, do I still have the Red Bull occasionally? No, I could probably find out. I'm not far off 365 days. I think it might be about a week away, you know, because it was pre-season last year that I quit. So I reckon I'm probably very fucking close. In fact, I can tell you exactly when it was. Oh shit. 18th of July. When's that? Friday? Do I have one on Friday? Friday will be a year without a Red Bull. Wow. That snuck up. Wasn't aware of that. That is crazy. Shit. Bit of a shock. Was the worst environment I've trained? Scotland. In fucking January. When do I come into New York? I think the lads are there Wednesday. I get there midnight. Thursday. What's my opinion on what's going on in the Middle East with Palestine, Israel, and Iran? We haven't got time to cover that at the moment. What I will say is the reporting on it does not match what my fucking eyes are seeing, and it's annoying me. I don't like how it's being portrayed. I don't like some of the things that are coming out. I saw something today which, like, Israel has made it illegal for Palestinians to go into the fucking sea in 90-odd degree heat. And they're basically they've decided that they can just open fire on you if you go in the fucking sea now. How does that work? Who do I think will be the first to go out the outcast? It looks like it's going to be... Sancho. Do I think we'll have a stop clock like they do in rugby to stop the ridiculous amounts of added time? Oh, maybe. Someone's always looking to fuck with it, aren't they? So yeah, I would not be surprised. Adam says, McDonald's in Taiwan, quarter pounder with tempura shrimps on top. Different. Am I glad I left the military in the end and followed the content path instead? Any regrets? Yeah, loads of regret. That was what I was put on this earth to fucking do, and I feel like I didn't fulfill what I wanted to fulfill, and it probably still drives some stuff at the moment to a greater or lesser degree. Ruman says, United cutting charities worth 40 grand a year, sacking people to put money in the Glazers' pockets, and yet Liverpool are paying Yotta's contract to 2027 to his family levels. It's not the same, mate. It's not the same. And to compare them as the same is disingenuous, and it's a dickish move. Vaughn says, hope all is well. Just got to the conversation. What did I miss? A lot. What age did I start getting my shit together and things figured out? I don't know if I have. It's 1% better every day, innit? Try. Get up. Try and be better. If you are, sweet. If you're not, well, get up again the next day and fucking try. Previn says, any thoughts on how the US cover-ups have been? Lazy the US cover-ups have been, like they're not even trying. The whole thing with this Epstein stuff, yeah? The fact that no one's putting the lists out, when we all know these lists, I'm just going to start assuming you're all on a fucking list, lads. Because what else is there? Would my morality affect my decision to deploy to help Israel if I was still in? I would not deploy to help Israel. Unfortunately, you don't really get a fucking choice in the matter. But I would be... I'm sort of a reserve at the moment. And I do actually get a bit of a choice. If I was still full-time, you don't get a fucking choice. But I would not be fucking pleased with it. Matthew says, time for a Red Bull to celebrate. I mean, do I have a Red Bull to celebrate a year not having a fucking Red Bull? Callum says, what are my thoughts with the way the whole Iran-Israel stuff is heading? Are we not literally in the middle of fucking answering that? MF Grimm says, am I looking forward to announcers calling players out 1v1 next year's World Cup? I don't think it's going to feel that good as a World Cup next year, you know. Have I seen or heard the nonsense happening in Northern Ireland? Is this to do with the big fucking towers of pallets with a load of like dinghies on the top with people in saying stop the fucking boats? Is it that? Because fuck me. I don't know how we've been honeydicked into thinking that this is a massive issue. Obviously, I believe in fucking security, and there should be ways to vet people, but there's also got to be ways to deal with people compassionately and sensibly. And I don't think that's something that any politicians ever fucking said. It seems like either everyone's like, yeah, fuck it, sound, let every bastard in, or no, fuck it, close the borders, we can't have anybody coming in. Neither are realistic. There is a shortage of fucking qualified labour in the country. That doesn't mean that everyone fucking arriving illegally should be allowed to stay because, well, you know, you broke the fucking law. I don't think you can stop asylum because some asylum claims are entirely fucking justified, and some of the situations that people are fleeing from. I get people go, why are they coming to fucking the UK after travelling through X, Y, and Z countries? Surely if you was in danger, you would just go to the nearest country and settle there. I can't answer that because I've never been in that situation. Neither have you probably. So I don't know if any of us could answer that. Also, Britain's had a fucking hand in a lot of these things kicking off. I don't know what the answer is. But I would always say I believe people are just fucking people. And I think people need to be treated with a bit more fucking dignity and respect. Bononkas says, what is that answer? Are you he's quoted, Palestine apologist? No, mate, I'm a fucking human being. And I don't think anyone that's a fucking human being can look at what's going on in Palestine with any fucking conscience and go, that's appropriate fucking action. I don't think anyone can look at what's going on in that country and say, that's a justified fucking response. To my eyes, there is one country in that region that is an aggressor, that's taking bits of fucking land illegally from both the West Bank and Gaza, flattened the entire fucking region of Gaza, controls what comes in, what comes out, is enacting laws and regulations at the moment which are egregious to anybody that is a fucking sensible human being, attacking countries and then demanding America backs them up to do so. I should not be sitting here and thinking Iran have been had over it. When I was in Iraq, a lot of the munitions that were fired at me were supplied by Iran. I should have a fucking mental block that just goes fuck Iran all the way off. However, I see one fucking nation just fucking launching missiles at them, which is an act of war that only one fucking nation seems to get away with doing. Look, Bononkas, I'm going to block you, mate, because you coming in here and going, there is no genocide, is fucking insulting to people. Genuinely insulting to people. And I'm not going to have this fucking chat descend into madness because one person doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on. I quite like my chats to be civil. And I think people should be treated with fucking respect. And I think anybody that defends the actions of Hamas on October the 7th is a prick. And I think anybody that defends the actions of the IDF and the genocide that's going on in Gaza is a fucking prick, right? Two wrongs do not make rights. It is a complex situation, but it seems it's fucking... There's so much wrong with the way one military treats another fucking group of people. I don't know how anybody looks at it and says that's not a genocide. So give me a second while I can't do it from this screen that I'm on here. I'm going to have to go into a different fucking screen to do it. And the fact that you've got fucking my guy saying Trump needs to be given the fucking Nobel Peace Prize. Honestly. Just give us a sec while I fuck him off. Done. Now then, what were we saying? Anan says, I'm glad you're well educated on Middle Eastern. I wouldn't say I'm well educated, mate. It comes across my timeline. And, you know, I'm annoyed that there is so much focus on this. But also, my fucking heart breaks when I see the fucking kids. I just see fucking kids getting mullered left, right and centre. And I swear to God, it fucking breaks me. Because I can't take my eyes off it. I can't take my fucking eyes off it. Your man here in the fucking comments is... Let me just fucking read what this dickhead has said here, because I'm pretty sure you can't listen to anything that I've just said here and put, happy to support murder, rape and kidnapping in A. Some Germans helped Jews escape. Not one Palestinian has helped an Israeli. Fact. I don't know how anyone could make that comment after sitting here and listening to me speak. I find that incredibly fucking insulting. Incredibly fucking insulting. And also completely fucking disingenuous. And I am fully aware that there are massive issues. I think what's going on with the fucking Uyghurs in China is completely fucking egregious. I just got to have a look at, like, Israel decided Iran needs fucking mothering over their nuclear program. Israel still doesn't admit to having nuclear weapons, even though the entire world knows that they've got them. Israel still doesn't joined the council, which oversees the non-proliferation thing. They're not a part of it because they haven't admitted to having nuclear weapons. And yet, the speed at which Iran got fucking mullered, which, by the way, bombing fucking nuclear facilities can't be a good idea, can it? Can't be. Meanwhile, let's just fucking drop all sorts of bombs on them. Also, didn't North Korea literally just fucking get themselves a load of nukes? And everyone was like, hey, don't do that. He's like, well, I've done it. All right, well, don't do it again. Not me. Chat has paused for me. Nathan says, did Israel not say we don't have nuclear weapons, but if we need to use them, we will? This is the problem with this entire fucking situation that we have at the moment. I see stuff and I go, how the fuck is that allowed? It's almost like, it's like this Epstein shit. Which obviously there's talk of him being Mossad, so it feels like this is all fucking connected in some level, doesn't it? But it's like you see what's going on with that and you go, this doesn't... How the fuck does this add up? Like, how is anyone going on TV and going, anyway, there is no lists. James Curtis says, let's not do this. Hamas are using human shields, causing more civilian casualties. No, indiscriminate fucking bombing of every fucking square inch of what is essentially an open prison is causing human casualties, mate. Civilian casualties. Come on. Like, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm not Jewish. I'm not Muslim. I'm not even fucking Christian. I was born Catholic, but I adhere to no religion. I'm fucking atheist. And like I already said, I was fighting Islamist extremism, if you want to call it that, in the Middle East. And we were literally getting, my life was in danger, probably in a large part because of proxies of Iran. But I'm still able to look at this objectively, and what I see objectively doesn't fucking add up. It doesn't add up. Previn says, biggest issue with the world right now is we're being told something is what it isn't when we can see it clearly. You're right, yeah. Gareth says, Steve, the other day I heard a debate on our favourite radio station, Giggs or Rivaldo, different players, but because Rivaldo won a Ballon d'Or, then Giggs was not given a chance. All right, cool. Then Michael Owen was better than Alan Shearer. You can't just have debate with arbitrary fucking rules like that, because there's been people that have won stuff, Ballon d'Ors, that probably wasn't deserved at the fucking time. Can I see the West getting involved in a ceasefire? Isn't agreed and more people are dying. It feels like there is almost like a desire by nations to have war, and maybe that's the military-industrial complex, maybe that's the lobbyists. I don't know. I don't know about that sort of stuff. But the writing was on the wall for me when Rishi Sunak, a couple of years ago, ran outside in the rain to make up this mad little fucking statement, which was so unprepared, rushed, and basically nonsense about UK considering conscription. And you're like, wait, what the fuck are you on about? You have a press conference room inside your office. Why have we run outside in the fucking rain to do this nonsense fucking statement? And then you hear Keir Starmer saying that Britain are going to massively increase our defence spending. There's a bit of an in-joke between veterans and service members about when the military recruitment videos go from being like fucking woke to being awesome. When they're playing rock music and everything's blowing up, you go, oh shit, they're trying to fucking get people to sign up and go to war. And we went from like those fucking snowflake posters that the British Army were doing to some fucking, there's some genuinely fucking cool recruitment videos coming out, and that's a big fucking red flag for us. Oh shit, we're getting ready to go again. Darren Wilson says, why did the Crusades happen? I think it was largely because of the Catholic Church, I think. Don't know, mate, wasn't there? Wasn't on that op. William says they are preparing. It fucking feels like it, doesn't it? William says, like good food before deployment. Yeah, why the pizzas? Oh, shit. Carl says, I respect Rivaldo, good player, but Giggs as a Welsh wizard, genius from Man United, is better than Rivaldo. Listen, I think they were both fucking incredible. And one of them, innit? What do I think about Ramos at PSG on loan? I'd take him. Anonymous says the Crusades were bonkers, such a long way to go. I mean, it was when you were going on a fucking mule. Stranger Jasmine says, Chelsea just played PSG off the park with Delap and Pedro, and we still haven't signed Mbeumo. Have I seen Trump lifting the trophy with Chelsea? Benjamin West said, you want your chat to be civil, but you ban people who disagree with you. Yeah, that's what happened, wasn't it? Do you actually think that was what happened? Or would you like to go and fucking join your mate on the naughty step? Because that's clearly not what fucking happened, is it? Is it? Fucking dick. Hamouidi says, why Rivaldo won a Ballon d'Or over Beckham in 99? I don't get it. Probably Copper weighed heavily in people's voting. Also, I think people who thought United player or a United player deserved it saw the vote split. And I think, you know, there were so many deserving players that had massive moments in 99 that the vote was going to be split. Would I take Patrick Schick? Honestly, yeah. Previn says, low-key think the Club World Cup was rigged because the public money was insanely on PSG. Lee says, Chelsea just balanced their PSR in 3 weeks. They was ahead of it anyway because of all their player sales. Ross says, I'll take any striker at this time. Correct. Royston says, Zidane was overrated, wasn't he? Yes. So that's not to say Zidane was a bad player. He's just overrated. Because the eyes of the world were upon him for 6 games at a time every couple of years during what he was doing with France, and he was fucking 10 out of 10 for France. People extrapolated that across his entire career. He was good at Real Madrid, but he wasn't what we saw in a France shirt at Real Madrid. And he was good at Juventus, but if you read the match reports from Juventus, and I'm a fucking nerd, so I do this, there was a forum a few years ago that I found which had listed all of his match reports from Gazzetta dello Sport from like fucking 97 all the way through. And the amount of 5s and 6s they were giving Zidane, like, he did nothing again. He did nothing again. He did nothing again. And then he get a 9.5 because he's fucking rasped something up. And then nothing again, nothing again, nothing again. It sounds like he was just fucking mad inconsistent at Juventus. Daniel says, what's Ash so busy with these days? Fuck knows. I was texting him earlier, though. Do I see any improvement likely from Højlund? No. I don't think he's got him in him. Dan says, "Stay, I'll be dead really. United are just the best. Yeah, we're shite right now, but just Manchester United, absolute magic, and nobody can take it away." Correct. And it's people go on and go, "You fucking history merchants," and this, that, and other. What is a club except its history? Stephen Harris says there was literally posters in the recruitment office showing snowboarding and windsurfing. Yeah, but is that the 90s? Because that's what they were doing in the 90s. Like, remember those Where's Dave adverts? And he was fucking skiing and windsurfing and just banging beaches at the beach. Because that's what they were selling. And to be fair, my uncle fucking had that experience. He had a 6-month deployment to Cyprus. What did he do in Cyprus? Got a deep tan and learned how to fucking parachute in gorgeous weather. All right, cool. Rob says, it's painful to say this, but is Ryan Giggs one of the most underrated players of all time? Has to be. Because the fucker's got 13 Premier League titles and doesn't feature very often in anyone's all-time Premier League 11s. It's fucking mad. What's my perspective on the film Warfare? It was interesting to see DJ's perspective. Yeah, so I watched it on my own in the cinema. I saw DJ's review on YouTube. And then me, DJ, and Jay are out having a burger. Telling fucking Jay's got to go watch it. And Jay's like, I ain't fucking seen it. So it was fun because it's like, it's weird having a conversation with someone where you're like, I watched your 38-minute review of a film, and now our other mate is asking you about the film, and I know what you're going to say about the film because I watched you do content about the film. So it was interesting. No spoilers here, I don't think, but when the grenade goes off in the room, it's weird because like I could smell the room, and I was like, that was weird, I didn't expect that. Stretford then said, I missed the Heads Gone pod. God tier content, not gonna lie. They couldn't sell it. Because they were like, what the fuck do we, like, what do we do here? And what's mad is, Ash was a bit worried that the BBC wouldn't like it, but like, literally every time he went in to do Match of the Day, they would all tell him how much they loved Heads Gone. Previn says, Giggs is obviously a terrible brother, but criminal he's not in the Premier League Hall of Fame. Correct. Do Ash and Rio get on? Yeah, really well. Yeah. I think that's why they're at the same agency. James says, I asked this as someone who hasn't served but doesn't know how it should work. How do you tackle a force that hides amongst a dense civilian population from an operational point of view? Here's what you don't do. You don't fucking drop £2,000 bombs on fucking buildings to deal with it. You do the very fucking difficult thing of assaulting it with operators. And it's messy, and you're going to lose a lot of fucking people, but that's what you got to fucking do. It's mad having been in operations where there was such oversight, and that's not to say mistakes were not made, because mistakes were fucking made frequently. Fucking hell, literally, one of my mates, Jay, if you've not seen the podcast on Sean Ryan's show, only got cleared of fucking murder, which was nothing fucking like it, because they were investigating every fucking round that gets fired. Meanwhile, how are you fucking dropping? How are you dropping like hotels? Who's my favourite Bond actor? There's only one Bond I can watch, and that was a Daniel Craig once. So him. S. Clark says, played 5 sports, plus scouts and judo as a kid, massively helped, trained so many muscle groups, plus 2 Olympic coaches. Yeah, it's mega, in it. Hamweedy says, unpopular opinion, I think Roy Keane should have been the successor of Sir Alex. He was on a decent trajectory with Sunderland, and then Ipswich went a bit wry for him, didn't it? Dan says, how mental's DJ's electrocution story blew my mind hearing that. Fucking crazy. Yeah. Like he's struggling with trying to keep weight on at the moment, and I wonder, is it fucking connected to that? Think that one sport culture is affecting kids' development? Yeah, I do actually. But at the same time, I don't see it changing in the UK. Maddest conspiracy I believe is true. It's not mad, is it? 9/11 didn't happen how they fucking say it happened. Andrew says, still tell my wife now she's my second love. Darth says, have I seen any UFOs? I've never seen a UFO. I've never seen anything paranormal. I don't know if that's because I consider myself to be fairly logical and rational. Maybe I'm closed off to that sort of stuff. I also just, I think pretty much all of the spooky goings on are unexplainable. But then you see like remote viewers and you go, am I just fucking closed off to some shit going on here? Which part of 9/11 do I think didn't happen the way they said? All of it. I don't know if there's a single part of 9/11 that I think happened the way that they say it happened. There's not a fucking chance there was a plane hit the Pentagon. None. Like 0% chance there's a plane hit the Pentagon. I think some people knew about it prior. I think the towers were rigged to be demolished. And okay, I think planes hit them, right? I'm not saying there was a hologram. I'm not saying there wasn't any planes involved. There was absolutely planes involved, but I also don't think... I think they were rigged to go down. And the way they were all fucking taken down at free fall speed, to me, proves that. I'm not entirely sure that the other aircraft came down the way they said it came down, where the passengers overpowered the pilot. I feel that's more of a lovely story than... I wouldn't be surprised if they shot that fucker down. Doesn't that feel like a lovely story? Like, doesn't that shut down any of the family members that was on United 9-3 going, hang on, you fucking shot our family member down? Think about the lawsuits. Think about the shit show that would be. Whereas if you go, the passengers overpowered terrorists, they're all heroes. Doesn't that kind of like stop people asking questions? Previn says, as someone who lives 100 metres from the World Trade Center and saw the second plane happen live, nothing adds up. Building 7. Just straight into Building 7 and be like, how about that one? Linda says, you don't have to answer, but what about Princess Diana's death? I think there was some stuff that the royal family were probably fucking happy about with it. I'm not sure that story adds up in entirely the way it was said either. But again, I don't know enough about that one. Can I reenact the creation of the rugby scenario again? Not sure if the royal family was involved, but shady things were afoot. Yeah, I don't fucking trust a hell of a lot that I see. I saw and heard things while I was in service that I went, oh. You know, whether it's propaganda, when I knew something had happened and then it was reported as something different happened, you're like, that's not exactly how that happened. Where do I get my news these days? Probably fucking social media, which is not really probably the best thing, is it? I also don't really fucking steam into the news that much. I'm too fucking busy. Do I believe in the Megalodon? Yeah, I think so. Thoughts on Salford Rugby being rumoured to be relegated? Rugby League and fucking Salford in general are so fucking mismanaged at the moment. Dan says, do I think my military experience makes you more likely to believe in conspiracies, whether they're true or false? No, I think it makes you more likely to question narrative. I think it makes you more likely to go, did that happen? Or are you fucking saying it's going to happen? Andy says, just got my package from Manual. Did I get a second test done elsewhere? Also. What do you mean? Benjamin says, you don't have time for news, yet see strong opinions on it. I see the logic. Right. What did we say earlier, fuckwit? Right? Because I presume you're talking about the Israel-Palestine thing there. It seems as though that was what you commented on earlier and haven't commented on anything else since. Right? There's a lot of things comes out by other than the main source media, because the main source media is not fucking accurately reporting on this stuff. 1 + 1 = 2. It's quite logical and straightforward, fuckwit, right? The reporting, the BBC especially, the reporting is clearly not fucking unbiased and fair. Things are being put out on social media by people with a fucking brain and a conscience, right? I see that sort of stuff. I'm also someone whose brain actually functions, at least a little bit. So I can look at things that are coming out and then I can look at what the narrative is and I go, this don't fucking add up, mate. Forgive me if I'm fucking wrong here. Right, on that fucking note, R5's coming around with a quickness, so I'm fucking getting out of here. And all of you fuckwits that have just got such a militant fucking one-sided thing and refuse to accept any other angle on the narrative, wig me out, I swear to God. So, take it easy. Fuck the mainstream media off. And I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.